Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin says he wants to hold congressional hearings on a debunked 9/11 conspiracy theory, claiming there are still a number of questions about the deadly terror attack. Johnson focused on the theory about a building in the World Trade Center that collapsed hours after the Twin Towers went down.
Well, start with Building 7. Again, I don't know that you can find structural engineers other than the ones that had the corrupt investigation inside NIST that would say that that thing didn't come down in any other way than a controlled demolition. I mean, you just look at that. You talk about molten steel. What actually happened in 9/11? What do we know? What is being covered up? My guess is there's an awful lot being covered up in terms of what the American government knows about 9/11.
All right, so a spokesperson for the senator says he's currently seeking more information and documentation in order to hold these future hearings and peel back the layers nearly 24 years later. So I would like to welcome back to the program Terry Strada, National Chair of 9/11 Families United. Her husband was killed in the terror attacks that day. Terry, thank you so much for giving us some of your time again. We just heard, Senator Johnson in his own words there, confirming he is looking to hold hearings, talking specifically about essentially conspiracy theories. What is your reaction?
I'm always pleased to hear that there is attention being focused on September 11th, and I appreciate Senator Johnson's work over the years in helping the 9/11 community with our efforts. But I need Congress and the senator to remain laser focused on accountability and transparency. So I did put in a request to meet with the senator as soon as I heard this story breaking to remind him of the commitment he made to the 9/11 community 2 years ago. His committee, Chairman Senator Blumenthal and Senator Johnson, said that they would request documents from the FBI and ask for declassification of documents, and the FBI completely ignored their request. So I would like to ask the senator to now go back and make that same request to Director Patel's FBI and get the documents that the 9/11 community has been asking for.
So, Terry, you say, I know you just put in that request to have a meeting with him. Have you heard anything back?
No, I have not yet.
All right, so let's talk more about this podcast interview yesterday with the senator, asserting that one of the buildings, this building 7, was brought down via, quote, a controlled demolition. I do want to also listen to what a demolition supervisor at Ground Zero that day had to say about all of this.
On the surface, this is silly and pathetic. If Ron Johnson really wants to know what happened on 9/11, I can meet with him, which we will be meeting with his office on Tuesday of next week when we're in D.C. I'll let him know that innocent lives were lost on 9/11. Heroes died racing towards those innocent lives. And subsequently, 137,000 people are now sick because of the aftermath of 9/11.
All right, so Terry, I know you want more attention to be placed on this. I know that that is really at the heart of this, but there are a lot of people who do think that Building 7 was deliberately brought down by the federal government or other entities in an attempt to try to place the blame on al-Qaeda. What is your response to those specific assertions?
Well, I know 100% that al-Qaeda is the entity that, is the terrorist organization that brutally attacked us on that day. All evidence has always led to al-Qaeda. They admitted it. Osama bin Laden admitted it. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed down in Gitmo has admitted it. So there's no question that it was al-Qaeda. And then the 9/11 families in all of our investigations have uncovered the Saudi role and how much they played in supporting the attacks. They facilitated them financially and logistically. So I don't give any credence to this conspiracy theory about Building 7, and I don't know why anyone is focused on it anyway. Nobody died in that building. And it's clear to me, because I've been told by many experts, that that building was damaged by fire that had hit the building. That's why it caught on fire from the fires from the Twin Towers. And then those fires damaged the sprinkling system, so they didn't have the water, that the foundation had also been compromised from the buildings, the Twin Towers coming down with all of that force, and that the fire department made a decision to not place any more of their firemen in danger by putting them into a building that had been fully evacuated. to just let it burn. And then, yeah, it finally imploded because from what I've been told and what I've seen with my own eyes, when I look at the video, it does begin to implode in the center, which is where the elevator shafts were. And that is where the biggest compromise to the building took place. So I don't believe in the conspiracy theory. And I know that a lot of these people talk about the 9/11 Commission, and I think that that in itself was never fully a full investigation to what happened. I don't call it a failure. I just call it a not complete investigation. But so much has happened post 9/11 in the evidence that we have uncovered that Mueller's FBI buried, made sure that the 9/11 Commission never saw. And then there was a 10-year investigation into the Saudi connection that the 9/11 Commission never saw. So there has been so much that has been exposed post 9/11, and that is the focus, the transparency and the accountability.
Yeah.
And let's face it, conspiracy theories thrive in the absence of the truth.
Yeah.
So let's get to the truth.
If these hearings do happen, Terry, would you want to be there?
Oh, I would absolutely want to be there, and I would want the experts to go and rebuke what they're saying, because there is nothing that supports it. I've been doing this for over 20 years, and I have never seen a shred of evidence that supports what they're saying. And yet I have seen an abundance of evidence in a U.S. courtroom, and I have read the documents, and I have seen it with my own eyes. And now we have several top CIA and intelligence officers from that era that have now seen the evidence that I'm talking about. And they all agree that now today's policymakers that have a relationship with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia need to address this problem that we had with the kingdom financing Al-Qaeda, financing the attacks, creating the support network within our country, and giving the hijackers all the tools that they needed to carry out the attack. So that's where I want Congress to focus.
Well, we will certainly stay on top of this. Terry Strada, always great to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.